Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Here comes the notion of mind or the question about mind. What do we call mind? Siegel is the very famous author in the field of neurology and neurosciences. The team of Siegel has developed a definition of mind. By the way, the definition of mind has been one of the most challenging tasks in front of the scientist. So, they defined human mind as a relational and embodied process that regulates the flow of energy and information. In this definition, you can see that the mind is not equated with brain. So, brain is one aspect where mind occurs, but mind is all over. Secondly, mind is also not a localized phenomena, that is recognized in this definition. Stephen Parker, a very famous yogi and author, in his book Clearing the Path, compares the notion of Panchakosha with the Siegel's definition of mind. And Stephen Parker very beautifully juxtaposes different aspects, different components of the definition of mind given by Siegel and his team, and compares that with each kosha. So, as the definition of Siegel says, mind is the embodied process that is comparable with the Annamaya Kosh, because Annamaya Kosh is also a body and it is the grossest aspect of self. Second aspect of Siegel's definition is that regulates the flow of energy, and Stephen Parker compares that with the Pranamaya Kosh, because Pranamaya Kosh is also sheath of subtle energy. Then comes the third component of definition of mind given in the Siegel's work, that is information. Mind is embodied process that regulates the flow of energy and information. If we look at our sense organs, if we look at our senses, what are these? These are nothing but instruments of capturing information. So, these are the sheath of sensory mentation. So, not of the higher mentation that takes place in the Vijnanamaya Kosh, but the lower mentation or more sensory aspects, those are captured by the Manomaya Kosh, and this is nothing but information. According to some other definition, it can be looked at as the feedback, because emotions are also feedback and emotions are generated through senses. Probably the senses are the primitive form of emotions. These all are located, these all take place in the Manomaya Kosh. And fourth aspect of the Siegel's definition is relational and embodied process that regulates the flow of energy and information. That element of regulation is related to Vijnanamaya Kosh, and that is the sheath of higher mentation as well. But mentation, buddhi here is not only meaning our conscious buddhi, our conscious decisions, our conscious thoughts. The regulation process that takes place through brain, that is also part of the Vijnanamaya Kosh. So, brain is not located only in the brain, but brain is certainly very important aspect of Vijnanamaya Kosh and aspect of mind. But mind is not limited to brain, but that is certainly there, and regulation is very important aspect of Vijnanamaya Kosh that takes place predominantly, or that is governed predominantly through different secretions of brain. Anandamaya Kosh is not captured in the Siegel's definition as defined by kind of interrogated by Stephen Parker, and he describes Anandamaya Kosh as the highest and subtlest mind body sheath made up of bliss. If we look at Indian tradition and few words which are pretty common in most of the Indian languages about the happiness, these are associated with different aspects of self. So, first aspect is trupti, that is predominantly connected with Annamaya Kosh. So, after having food, the term used in the Indian languages is trupti, that is satisfaction of sensual pleasure. Higher to that is harsh, ullas and santosh. Pranamaya Kosh and Manomaya Kosh predominantly experience harsh and ullas, that is excitement associated with some event, feeling of pleasantness and associated with the experience of natural beauty, being pleased by the interpersonal interactions. So, all these things are, when experienced, we say we had experience of harsh and ullas, that is Pranamaya Kosh and Manomaya Kosh, that is experienced in the Pranamaya Kosh and Manomaya Kosh, and Santosh is some bit of that is experienced in Manomaya Kosh and predominantly it is experienced at Vijnanamaya Kosh. Santosh is the self regulation, mindfulness, self control, being contented. These things are not sign of Annamaya Kosh or Pranamaya Kosh or Manomaya Kosh. Santosh is experienced at Vijnanamaya Kosh. Vijnanamaya Kosh makes the decision about being contented. You can give lot of pleasure to the body and body will not be satisfied. In fact, if we give more pleasure to the body, body seek more pleasure. Similarly, Pranamaya Kosh and Manomaya Kosh, you can give more harsh and ullas, excitement, pleasing experiences, pleasing interactions. People, these koshas will find it more and more, they will seek it more and more, they get it. However, Santosh is the satisfaction combined with the regulation. So, there is a sense of satisfaction, but at the same time there is a contentment. So, in the Santosh, the seeking more is diminishes, and that is experienced in the Vijnanamaya Kosh. And Anandamaya Kosh is the bliss, ecstasy, non-localized, non-causal ecstasy, that is experienced through meditation, that is also experienced through offering our talents, offering our aptitude for the cause of the world, for the cause which is higher than our individual Manomaya Kosh, Pranamaya Kosh, etc. So, Anandamaya Kosh is the experience which is pursued through the different forms of yoga. You might remember we talked about Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and Raja Yoga, 4 predominant types of yogas. Ultimately, these yogas are the instruments or the pathways to experience Anandamaya Kosh. Those who are registered for the NPTEL course, they must have received a link for the assessment of their satisfaction with the different aspects of the self. So, P is related to physical, I is related to intellectual, E is related to emotional, R is related to relational and S is related to spiritual. This Pearce inventory is forwarded to those who are registered in the NPTEL course, and that helps us to capture our satisfaction with these physical, intellectual, emotional, relational and spiritual aspects. If you look at P, the physical is more related to the Annamaya Kosh, intellectual and emotional and relational are related to Manomay Kosh and Vijnanamay Kosh, and S is more related to Anandamay Kosh and Vijnanamay Kosh. This inventory do not have questions or items related to Pranamay Kosh, but if we have satisfaction at all these aspects, we can naturally believe that our Pranamay Kosh is healthy, or inversely we can say until the Pranamay Kosh is healthy, we cannot experience well-being at physical, intellectual, emotional, relational or spiritual level. So, do you want to know what are the various psychosomatic disorder associated with the different sheaths, predominantly associated with the different sheaths? So, there are 4 phases of psychosomatic disorders. You might be interested to also know, as different aspects of well-being are connected to different aspect of our self or different koshas, psychosomatic disorders also must be connected to different aspect of the koshas or different koshas. Psychosomatic disorder originate from the mind and then it filters to the subtle energy of the body called the vital life force, and then slowly settle into the physical body and resulting the damage to the weakest organ, affecting the physiology and functioning of those organs. So, psychosomatic disorder emerge through 4 phases. First is the psychic phase, second is psychosomatic phase, third is somatic phase and fourth is organic phase. Disorders first occur at psychic phase, meaning in the Manomay Kosh or Vijnanamay Kosh or Pranamay Kosh. When it stays there for long time, it is reflected into the psychosomatic level, where it is at the prana and also at the gross body. After that, it result into the gross body, and then it captures the all or multiple organs of the body. At all 4 koshas, disorder can occur. So, Vijnanamay Kosh and Manomay Kosh has psychic phase. The characteristic of the disorder at the Vijnanamay Kosh and Manomay Kosh are related to persistent psychological and behavioral symptom of stress or irritability. This is also reflected in the disturbed sleep. Disorders at the Manomay Kosh and Pranamay Kosh, they are comparable to psychosomatic phase, and if the stress continue in the Vijnanamay Kosh and Manomay Kosh, it start occurring at the Manomay and Pranamay Kosh. It appears in the generalized physiological symptoms such as hypertension, tremors, anxiety, depression, mild depression start occurring at this stage. Somatic phase occur at Pranamay Kosh and Annamay Kosh, that is reflected in the malfunction of the organs. At this stage, one begins to identify the beginning of the disease state. So, before disease actually occur in our at the body level, it already happens at the psychic phase in the Vijnanamay Kosh, Manomay Kosh and Pranamay Kosh, and when disease fully occur at the Annamay Kosh, that is called organic phase, that is the full involvement of so called diseased state with the physiological changes such as ulcerated stomach or chronic hypertension or many other type of diseases we keep noticing. Yoga is the therapy as well as preventive mechanism at all 5 koshas and all 4 phases of the disorders. So, till now we have seen, in order to understand well-being, we need to understand different layers of self or different koshas. These koshas are prone to different disorders, and if we have to live a life of well-being, if we have to manage ourselves, we have to manage all these koshas.